What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Champion Living Podcast, the only podcast crossing the lines between the sport of rodeo and fitness. Today's episode, number 157. Man, we're jumping into everything about New Year's resolutions. So what your guys' New Year's quote-unquote resolutions should look like, how you can approach them differently this year in comparison to past years. And I'm definitely going to talk about how we view New Year's resolutions and goals differently than the normal mainstream media and what you're going to see out there, because in all fairness, I think New Year's resolutions are bullshit, but we're going to get into that right now. Guys, how the hell are we? Just had Christmas. You guys all caught up?
Yeah. Well,
Paul's
is that
never
a thing
caught
right
up.
now? No.
That's funny.
Paul
dude.
could not travel for 6 months and he would still be behind. It would still be
Yeah.
Sunday. I called him on Sunday and I'm like, hey, I FaceTimed him and I can tell he's sitting in his desk. I'm like, what are you doing? He was like, programming. It's Sunday, isn't
Yeah,
it? I was like,
Sunday.
oh, duh. Yeah. You sure are.
It's Sunday. No. Yeah, man, I don't know. Like, I mean, the new year is already here, and that's pretty crazy. I feel like 2023 has flown by, but the last couple months have really flown by, just with all the stuff that we've had going on, and yeah,
It's the weirdest
doing
feeling
it
because
again, so
I do feel like it's flown by as well, but I also feel like it's been 3 years in one. Like, I feel like we have done so
Yeah.
much this year that I'm like, is it still 2000? What year is it? 23? Okay, cool. Feels like we're in 26 right now. But I can relate,
to
Paul.
think back to Colorado OPA, it's like it seems like forever ago.
Feels like
You know what I'm
forever
saying?
ago.
Like you think back to just, and that was just May, and it's like, oh man, that does seem like a long time. But then when you think about the year as a whole, it's
dude, think about the Huntsville OPA. Like, that feels like
Yeah.
it was forever ago, and that was
does.
last month. Like,
yeah,
it was
2 months ago.
it was
that's
not
crazy.
Yeah,
long
it was like
ago at all.
7 weeks ago,
That's crazy.
and
Yep.
it feels like
Yeah.
an eternity
That's
from
nuts, man.
where we are today. It is nuts. It is nuts. Man, I look tired. I'm looking at this video. I'm like, I need some sleep. Oh, man.
That's exactly
Sleep's
how I
for
feel.
not us
Uh,
coming up. Actually, I'm going to
Yeah.
sleep that whole plane ride, Paul.
There you go.
I'm going to
There
sleep
you
the
go.
entire
Quick
time.
little 18-hour jaunt over to Australia.
It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, I think
Going to be awesome.
it's
What,
gonna be something.
It is going to be something.
I'm super frustrated with myself. Yeah, I'm
It's
super
all right.
frustrated. And
you want
and
to spill the beans, Logan?
Yeah, I like the game plan has been. I mean, kind of since we found out we were going, Doug was like, "Do you want to go to Australia?" I was like, "Absolutely." I mean, I have supposedly have citizenship in that country, so it'd be awesome to go back. I haven't been there in 20 years, so kind of start jumping through the hoops to go back. And I have traveled to Mexico and Canada on my United States passport, and so I just foolishly assumed that was going to be enough to get me in, and then I couldn't get our ETA, the electronic transit thing, to go through or work. And I started digging, of course, a week before we leave on why I can't get this ETA. And turns out that citizens can't get a visa. And I'm like, oh, well, that makes sense. So what do I have to do? And I've got Australian passports that are expired. Can't get those renewed. Can't fill out my ETA. I think maybe my chip in my passport is damaged because I've tried it on a few different devices. And so another milestone of Champion Living Fitness, and Coach Logan gets to sit on the bench and watch the boys, hit home runs and score touchdowns and slam dunks, and I get to cheer. I'll have my pom-poms over here, and I'm not sour about it, in case you're asking. I'm happy.
Your tone of voice says different.
Anyway, it's just frustrating, and the most frustrating part is just that it's just foolishness on my part. Is all it is. It's a lack of preparation and a lack of. And I was telling Paul, and I think I told Doug yesterday, that I sometimes it's almost not a good thing how much pride I take in like being on top of my stuff and getting up early and getting my work done and like doing my things, like I'm just like, man, religious about. And so this one time that I'm like, oh, it'll probably be okay. It's not okay. And so it's like, well, that's pretty ironic for the guy that, that rubs productivity in Paul's face all the time. Guess who's getting to go to Australia and who's not? That guy. So, it's totally my fault. But anyway, you live and you learn, and I'll hold down the United States fort for 11 days, and it'll be fine. This will allow me to go. I mean, I obviously would much rather be on a plane with you guys, but it'll allow me to go to. I'm going to go to coaching conference with Coach Tyler and for NSCA in Orlando for a couple days, and then I'll swing by and finish off at the pre-IFR school. I'll be there for a couple days, and so I'm going to have to stay busy. And I know Doug said he's got a whole checklist of things for me to do, so I'm going to try to just be busy. That way I'm not missing the boys over here singing the blues.
Yeah, you'll be all right. That'll be good. You wanted to go to the IFR school anyways, so it's like perfect for that sense. You'll be able to go.
It's funny how that works out.
Yeah, well, there's a silver lining, but it's like, I mean, it's nowhere near. I mean, I am not. I don't know. I'm just looking for every door that I knocked on was closed to me. Like, so outside of like my foolishness of not doing it ahead of time, when it came time to like, okay, it's game time and I know that there's something wrong, I spent about 20 hours on the phone and looking up numbers, like researching, reading. I mean, I knocked on every possible door. I talked to United Airlines multiple times. I talked to Customs multiple times. I talked to the embassy multiple times. I talked to the Australian government and Home Affairs multiple times. And every time I knocked on the door, like my situation being that I was sworn in when my parents were sworn in. So I'm technically a citizen, but I don't have an official document. My passports are from being a minor. So getting a new passport is like they're expired. And now I need an adult. Like just the storm is like this perfect storm in which there's nothing that anybody can do. And so every door I knocked on was closed to me. And so it's like, okay, like I don't know why, but for whatever reason, it feels like this is the way it's supposed to be, and I am going to make the best out of it. I'm gonna cheer for you guys and be here to support and help, and I'm gonna make sure keep my nose to the grindstone over here, and I'm gonna go ahead and renew my 2023 my passport for America and Australia while I'm at it. You never know, and that way we don't get into this situation. We don't ever get into this situation again. So
good idea. Very good idea. Shit happens, man.
It's just
yeah,
it's wild. Like, I mean, I guess your dad would have known, but like, since like you said, it's been 20 years. Like, I think you wouldn't have known. Like, you didn't know.
Yeah,
and so it's just wild situation all the way around.
It is wild. You guys are gonna have to give. I got a couple clients that are. Some of them are enrolled. Some of them are gonna come visit. So you guys will have to give them some love for me. I haven't broke the news to them yet. I got to do that today, and they're probably going to be like, well, I kind of been waiting for like the official word, right? I've been clinging on to. I found out about 4 days ago, and I've been clinging on to any shred of hope that there's a possibility. And so Doug called me yesterday, and he was like, well, I talked to the airlines, and we got a couple options to get you out. And so I'm like, okay, this is officially it. So, so anyway, it's officially not happening, but you guys are gonna, it's gonna be fantastic. It's gonna be ground shaking for not only for Champion Living Fitness doing an international OPA, but also for the Australian rodeo population. I mean, their culture, like this is unlike anything that has ever come across for them, and it's going to really open up doors, I think, for these students that are investing in themselves and coming. I mean, I really think that this is, the sky's going to be the limit for them, and it's going to help them set the trajectory of future of the maybe sport. Some of them are trying to get to the States. Yeah, that's exactly right. So I think it's really cool. Australia's always been a little bit lagged behind in like genetics, like breeding genetics. They've been doing that for quite a while now, and it's getting there, but it's still probably not like money. It kind of lagged behind, the caliber of athletes. There's been great Australians that have come across over the years, but and I think this is one way that's going to just like like, I mean, strap a jetpack on Australian rodeo and help it catch up. So love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's gonna be good. We're excited to go. It's gonna be a hell of an experience. Hope, and like our goal with anything has been to change rodeo, and if we can help change the trajectory of Australian rodeo and help them be on a quicker path to helping their athletes hit a new level, it's only going to help the sport over there. And the sport has an incredible amount of popularity over there right now, and has for a long time. But even right now, you're talking about a big wave of like Western culture happening in Australia, and it's cool to see. They're fired up. We got a city council is behind this, sponsoring this whole thing. So like to see them see the value in growing rodeo over there is just so neat to me, and I'm really really, man, I feel honored that we get to be the ones that get to go do it. So it'll be good. It'll be awesome. Cannot wait. We will have all kinds of stories when we get back. But for today, we just wrapped up Christmas. I know I talked to the guys. Their kiddos were up early. I have no kiddos, but I was still up early, fired up about Christmas. So we're going to chat a little bit about what you guys did over the days. I really want to get into New Year's resolutions. This is something that year after year, I've been a coach for, I don't even know how long now, probably 15 years almost. And every single year we deal with people wanting to set New Year's resolutions, set goals, and the fact of the matter is they just don't accomplish them. And we're gonna talk about that here in just a second. But did the kiddos, were they stoked about Christmas, guys? Like, was Santa good to them? Seen Sis got a balance beam.
Oh yeah. And when you said you were up really excited, I just imagined in my head like Al still sleeping, and you're like, "Come on, it's time to wake up and open presents."
Yeah,
exactly.
No, I'm like went downstairs and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna go let the dogs up there, and it'll be an accident. So I'm like, come on, dogs, let's go get her awake.
That's awesome.
No, but yeah, my kids are up at 4:55, and like, come on, let's go. It's time to open presents. I'm like, come on, can we like wait just a little bit? And we held them off till about 6.
There you go.
And yeah, six was the excitement was too big. We had to go in at the end, but yeah, it was awesome. Got the kids out on the bikes, even though it was a little cold. They both got new bikes, and so trying to figure that out. But
that's awesome. We had our kids were up at 5:30, and we didn't. I mean, I like. There's 4 of them. You're just dramatically outnumbered. So I didn't even try to pull the reins back. I was like, I'm just like 5:30 is good enough. I went in the bedroom. All the kids are in Lacey's room, and they're like, they're like waiting. And so I would go in there at 5:30. I said, "Hey babe, are you awake?" She's like, "I'm trying not to be." I'm like, "Well, it's 5:30. I mean, I don't know what else you can ask. Like, you're probably gonna have to get up, and I think we're gonna do this thing." And so anyway, it was good. The boys, we got a 4-wheel drive Power Wheels car for them to play around with, and Kanan got a Red Ryder BB gun.
Yeah.
And yeah, Cal got a bunch of dinosaurs and stuff, and then Sis got a big old long 10-foot balance beam that I have no idea where it's going to go. Supposedly my gym garage office is now becoming a gymnastics warehouse. So it's probably going to have to go out here, but it was really good. And then we went down to Grandma and Papa's and spent the rest of the day down there, and they got loaded up with all kinds of good stuff. So it was, yeah, Christmas was absolutely outstanding. And here we are right around the corner from 2024.
Wild. Here we are. It is New year, new resolutions. Let's get into it. Oh, our Christmas was good. I don't have any kids, so it's not near as exciting. But
sorry,
do have niece and nephews.
I should have asked about that.
Yeah, niece and nephews had a good time. We did like a brunch type deal. Paige and Richie came over with Forrest, so it was like that was really cool because we moved up here in June. Richie's been rodeoing, we've been busy. Getting to sit down together for a holiday is like, dude, this is why we did this. So we get to be right down the road from each other and enjoy these times. And I was looking at him, I'm like, dude, I can't wait for like a couple years down the road when we're building toys and shit for him. Like, it's going to be really, really exciting and fun to have them right down the road. So that was cool. It was kind of my first dose of that. As a family, we never had big Christmases. Like we don't have a huge family, so we never had that. Like never had the real get together. It was just kind of just like our family, and that was it. The occasional grandparent every now and then, but it was cool. My grandpa did come to visit for a minute. He's over in Seattle. He's 91. Drove all the way over here and hung out for the day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, drove all the way back. Made it just fine. Dude's a freak, an absolute freak. But it was good to see him and get him out. My grandma passed away last year, so it was his first Christmas. Well, I guess last year she wasn't around. She died in October, so still first year without her. So I know he was missing her, and it was just good to get him out of the house and around us. You could tell he appreciated it. But it was a good day nonetheless. Al's family's here, and feel like we just unpacked from Vegas, but here we are I'm packing up again today, and we're going on the road again. So it's gonna be good. Gonna be good. I had to sweet talk the dry cleaning people, and like, I leave 2 days after Christmas. Can you please have this done? She's like, of course, I got you. She's like, you never stop.
That's
like,
awesome.
nope, we never stop. Guys, let's jump into this New Year's resolution stuff. I think this is. I really enjoy talking about this topic in particular, because it is one of those things that everyone thinks about. And I would say, a good majority of people do set resolutions, and probably even a month or two into the new year, they've already forgotten about what those resolutions are. So let's just kind of dive in. First of all, like the pitfalls of New Year's resolutions, why I personally do not like the phrase New Year's resolutions or goals. But just statistically, this is something that we looked up and I thought was super interesting. Researchers suggest that only 9% of Americans that make resolutions complete them. And it gets even wilder to me, but also it makes complete sense. 23% of those people quit their resolutions in the first week of the new year. So you're talking about a quarter of those people, no more. In 7 days, we ain't got no resolutions anymore. 43%, so almost half of those people, quit by the end of January. 1 month in. It's wild. And to me, when I start thinking about it, it makes a lot of sense to me. I think people, first of all, feel pressured into setting a New Year's resolution. Maybe they feel like they should be setting some goal because their friends are. So they don't have any real attachment to that goal, meaning their why isn't big enough. The reason why they are setting the goal is not big enough to continue their journey towards that. And for some of those people, it doesn't even last 7 days. So their why really isn't big enough. So we have to really look at what is happening here. Why are you setting a New Year's resolution, a New Year's goal, and scratch the resolution and goal shit? And you need to realize this is a lifestyle change. This is something you have to change over 365 days. And it starts right now at day one. This isn't something that's going to change in a week. It's not going to change in a month. It's not going to change it might change a little in 2 months, but to see real changes, you have to see consistency over time and be adamant about doing it. And that goal and that thing that you're trying to accomplish has to keep you fired up longer than a week. It has to change your life. It should be a little scary in a sense, but my biggest thing is I think people are setting these goals because they feel pressured, and also they're not setting them with enough feeling behind them. Their why, the reason they are doing it, is not good enough, or they just don't care long enough, and that's okay too. But that, again, you're not going to change your lifestyle or accomplish your goals if you're not setting a big why.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, like you think about it, and I don't have any real numbers to back this up. I wish I did, but I would imagine it's somewhere north of like 80 or even 90% of resolutions are in like around diet and fitness. It's something to do with fitness and nutrition. And so, like, you think about that 9% of people that are achieving it. I bet it's an even smaller percent of that set a fitness resolution and achieve it. And I think a lot of it to blame is like we always, and we talk about this all the time, but so many people have this all or nothing mentality when it comes to fitness goals or even New Year's resolutions. So like they think, oh well, this year is going to be the year that I lose the weight, and I'm going to go to the gym 6 days a week, and I'm going to be in there for 2 hours, and then they do that for 3 days in a row after not having done that in maybe years, and it's like, oh, this is really uncomfortable. I hate every second of this.
Mhm.
And so they give it up. And it's like, well, no wonder, because you tried to go from 0 to 100 miles an hour, and your car wasn't equipped for that. So
Mhm.
I think, a good example of a resolution, Doug, if you want to share, I think was yours last year. Um, you remind me if I'm wrong, but it was something along the lines of like being more present.
Mhm.
Was that is
Yep.
that about right?
Yep.
Do you feel like you achieved your goal
Yes.
this year, or like,
Yes. I definitely
yeah?
did.
See,
And that's a good example, because the be present, I feel, is very broad. Like, what does that mean? And I had to
Mhm.
really nail it down from there, and saying, I don't want to be thinking about other things on my to-do list while I'm doing a specific task. I want to be fully engulfed in that. I want to be remembering everything you guys say in our conversations. I don't want to be having to think about side things that I'm doing. I want to be fully aware and in the situation that we're doing. One way I could do that was, I knew I needed to separate myself from my daily life every day in order to kind of clear my brain. Meditating, breath work was that one thing. So I started with, I'm going to do 10 minutes of breath work to help myself clear my mind and be more present. Over time, that's continued into, I'm going to do 10 minutes of goal setting here, 10 minutes of, what's the word? What's the thing that you do? Yeah. Damn it. Drawing a blank. Meditation, meditate. Um,
there you
I
go.
write out things that I can do to help myself be more present. And as I've done that, I really noticed it here these last 2 months. It was so easy. It was part of my life at that point to be present and to not be looking at my phone all the time in meetings or when I'm talking to people. I'm making it a habit to look them in the eye and have a conversation with them. Uh, it became part of my life, because over the last 10 months leading up to those last 2 months, I consistently was working at being more aware, being more present in what I was doing. And I
Mhm.
think that, when we start looking at even a weight loss goal, same thing. I want to lose 50 pounds. It's like, okay, if we do that, you say you want to do that in 4 months, that's 16 weeks. So you're losing, like, it's like almost to 5 pounds a week, right? Or something around there. My math might
Mhm.
be a little bit off, but in the ballpark, right?
Yeah, I
5 pounds a
don't.
week. That would be very, very tough, and that is not very attainable. If I said I want to lose 50 pounds in a year, that's 1 pound per week of losing weight. That is very, very attainable. And that is something that, if that's the goal and you're consistently losing that 1 pound, dude, you're going to be able to carry that a lot further than you are going to be able to carry that 5 pounds per week, because it's just not attainable. It's not sustainable, right? You'll
Mhm.
lose 5 pounds quickly. Yeah, those first 2 weeks, yes, maybe that'll work. But after that, it's not going
Yeah,
to
it's
work.
not going to be linear.
Right.
Yeah,
Right. So I
yeah.
think,
There's going to be ups and downs when you're trying to
mm-hmm.
do it like that.
Yeah. So my first thing,
Yeah.
like, internally on the way my brain works is, if I can see more wins consistently, I'm going to keep doing that goal. So if I'm seeing that pound loss per week, we're right on track, baby. We're doing good. If we lose a couple more pounds, we're ahead. We're still doing good. And I still have 2 weeks in there where I could not lose weight, or I could lose less than a pound, and I would be okay, because it allows for 2 weeks of up and down, right? 50 weeks, 50 pounds, 52 weeks in a year, blah, blah, blah. But just looking at it in this bigger picture, I think is a big key for people. It could really help you see, like, you can change your life in a year. You could change it in 6 months, but that year of consistently doing it isn't just going to accomplish that goal. It's going to change your lifestyle, and you're going to continue on and be able to continue to that journey in the future.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good example, and it kind of brings me into like the next thing of like the psychology behind goal setting. And so we talked about like this all or nothing mentality and how that usually leads to just failed resolution. Like if you try to go all in after having done nothing to kind of warm you up to it, you're pretty much setting yourself up for failure. And so like yours was a little bit different because it offered flexibility. And so one of the things that I found when I was looking up, like, like why do resolutions fail? There was one study that had done like a wellness checkup, like or like a mind state or mindset checkup,
Mindset.
kind of before and then after their goals. Yeah, and so like two of the things that they noticed was what they were trying to measure was tenacity and flexibility. And so like if you rated yourself highly tenacious or highly flexible on this opening interview, would you how would you rate on the follow-up interview, and then like what is the correlation there? And so what they found was that neither tenacity nor flexibility meant that somebody was going to achieve their goals. But what they did find was that the person that had higher flexibility ratings did have a healthier mindset around their goals. And so like that was interesting because when you're open to being more flexible, it doesn't necessarily mean that your goal is achievable or that you are going to achieve your goal, but you're going to be a lot less likely to have a bad experience, and like you fail your goal and you're like, oh well, this sucks, I'm never doing this again. You're probably going to still be open-minded to adjusting your goal and trying something else. So um I think when we talk about the everybody's got some type of intrinsic motivation, and I think that's what New Year's resolutions really kind of kick off for people, is they're like, oh well, like I'm motivated, it's January 1st, but it kind of falls flat because they're literally only motivated because it's January 1st. Like Doug was saying earlier, like it almost your goal almost has to hurt a little bit. Like you need something to push you in that direction. And if you're still comfortable where you're at and you're not, you haven't reached that tipping point, like you're probably not going to get it, because when times do get hard, you're just going to fall off the rails. And so, I mean, when we talk about setting goals that we're actually going to achieve, we need to be able to develop like long-term habits and this lifestyle change, like Doug had said. And so like that really brings us to like how to, developing these SMART goals. And we have an entire episode on SMART goals, so I'm not going to go too in depth to it, but SMART goals: specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. So your goals need to fit in that criteria in order to make sure that you are working towards lifestyle change and not just another failed resolution.
Absolutely. And just to run through real quick, a SMART goal is, we could say the main goal, I want to lose weight. Okay, cool. Making that SMART: specific, I want to lose 50 pounds. Measurable, I want to lose a pound per week. Attainable, a pound a week is attainable. That is a great goal. Relevant, you want to lose weight. We're losing a pound per week. How are we going to do that? Timely, you gave yourself a year to do it, and then you need to implement the goals, the how to get there. Paying attention to your nutrition, paying attention to your exercise, your lifestyle habits. All those three things are going to get you down the road to your goals and losing that pound per week and doing it. So just when you're setting your goals, make them specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. That's gonna be huge. It's very easy to set a goal that says I want to lose weight or I want to be a world champ. How the hell are you getting there? What are you doing to get there? You have to have checkpoints, mile markers along the way to say, have a month in when everyone's quitting, are we on track? Are we getting there? Because that's going to keep you on the track. That's going to let you see the roadmap to get there. You've got to be able to see where we're headed and not just shoot out a random goal and go. That leads us right into, I think, the sustainable habits. Logan, why don't you kind of dive into, and I think we kind of just talked about this, but like you have to have sustainable habits in order to reach your goals.
Absolutely. That's the whole thing. We talk so many times about like, these outcome based goals or process type goals. And that's kind of another way to think about these, sustainable habits, is that they're more of the process. And how are you going to get there? Paul mentioned earlier extrinsic motivation and intrinsic motivation, and so that extrinsic motivation is more like a carrot on a stick dangling out in front of you. And most people realize they're not getting any closer to the carrot after 3 weeks and they quit. And so building those habits and that process would look like you realize that even though like you're not as focused on the carrot in front of you as you are just taking the next step. And so it's really like you guys said, you've covered this really well, but it's really about what does that person that lost 50 pounds in 1 year, what does their life look like now that they've lost the 50 pounds? And they probably are working on getting their steps in. So they're probably taking breaks at their desk. If they have an office job, they're probably taking 10-minute breaks to go for a walk, or they're at least, maybe they get a stand-up desk and they're standing a little bit more. They're focusing on the portions that they eat. They're focusing on the quality of their food more than the portions. Really, the food quality is huge. And they're probably consistently getting in the gym or doing some sort of resistance training, even if it's 20 minutes 3 times a week. They haven't bought into this idea that it has to be an hour to 2 hours every day of the week for them to see success. They realize that a little bit is better than nothing. And so those are some of the habits that are very sustainable for you to do. 20 minutes 3 times a week. Man, you can't tell me that you don't spend 5 times that much scrolling on Tinder or Instagram or Netflix. Well, I mean, it is so sustainable to do. And people are like, I just don't have the time to get in the gym. And I would never say that you have to go buy a gym membership and drive back and forth to the gym. If you have enough spot for you to lay down on the floor, you've got enough place to work out at home, and you can use just your body weight. Sure, you could invest in $20 or $40 in some bands. You could, if you wanted to be a high roller, you could spend $300 on some adjustable dumbbells, but you don't have to have any of that. And you certainly don't have to have an hour to an hour and a half multiple times a week, even if it's 20 minutes a day, focusing on food quality, focusing on your steps, and a little bit of resistance training are going to go such a long way for you. And it is something that is so sustainable for anybody to be able to do once they start. But like you guys have said, it has to be not the carrot on the stick, right? It has to be out of a desire to see change, and we're willing to do the hard things now, which might just be 20 minutes of resistance training or going on that first walk. That's going to get the avalanche going. It's going to get the snowball rolling. And by July, you're going to be well over halfway to your goal. And you're going to be like, man, I don't even know how I got here. I don't really feel like I changed my life that much. That means you're doing it right. When you don't notice the drastic change, that means you did it right, because you did just a little bit at a time. And progress, man, it piles up.
It does. Yep. And then all of a sudden you turn around a year later and you're like, damn, how did we get here? I don't even recognize that person from 365 days ago. Like, whoa, it's cool. Man, it really is. It's cool. I love that, how you set that up. And, I love that you talked about the hard. Like, you've got to choose the hard. You got to choose your hard. And losing weight is hard, yes. But living an unhealthy life is harder. Like, think about, and people I don't feel like realize the differences in how they felt with less weight on, right? As someone who puts on weight, your body is having to carry around more weight, therefore going through more forces of gravity. Like, it's only harder on your joints, your whole system to keep operating. The daily difference in what you'll feel just on the inside, like from literally step to step each day, is insane, and is something I don't think people that talk about it enough. But just the confidence you'll have in walking around, you will feel different in how you walk in a year if you continue like stay after it and set those mile markers for your goals. I want to lose 50 pounds. Sweet, let's use that goal or that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I saw a coach share, this was a couple months ago, so I might butcher exactly the setup of it, but there was a coach that shared an exercise that he said that he would do, not with everybody, but with some people, like if they needed to understand like that before and after feeling, like Logan was explaining. If you had, like, say roughly 40, 50 pounds to lose, carry around a 45-pound plate for about 30 minutes. And then when you set it back down, your body has like this sense of relief from that burden that was on you. Yeah. And that is how you would feel if you lost your 40 pounds. Like, you would feel that way all the time, that sense of relief from that burden. Like, your entire life would feel like that. And so I thought that was really interesting, exercise. I don't think everybody needs to do that, but
I think that's
if
awesome.
You're at a place where you're like, I do have 40 pounds to lose, and I'm not quite to the point where I'm willing to make a change, like that might push you over the edge and be the thing that says, like, okay,
well, it's so hard to feel that without doing it. Like you carry that weight around, the extra weight, and then you do have that feeling. And I can relate 100% because hunting season, we're packing out that elk and that mule deer. halfway through each of those hikes, I was sitting there saying, I couldn't imagine having to carry around an extra 80, 100 pounds every day. I would die. Like, I wouldn't make it.
Yeah.
And then you take the
Yeah.
pack off, and I legit feel like I'm going to float away. Like it was
Mhm.
insane. I love that that makes it real for somebody. They actually get to feel
Yeah.
that feeling rather than us saying, "Oh, you'll feel so much better." It's like, no, pick this weight up, carry that bitch around for 20 minutes. Okay, now you can drop it. They drop it, and they have this. They can feel what we're talking about. All of a sudden, it's very real, and it gets attainable. It gets tangible. They can see it. They can touch it. They know what that
Mhm.
feeling is. So that's cool. I really like that. I think that's a really useful thing, and it's something that's you're not gonna kill yourself doing it. It's something you're just picking up extra weight and holding on to that sucker, whether you're walking or standing or whatever. And I honestly think 5 or 10 minutes, you'd probably sit there and go, "Whew, like this is getting spicy."
Yeah.
Yeah.
it
getting
wouldn't take
spicy.
that long to be like, I don't want to do this no more. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I carry my nephew around for a second, and I'm like, all right, this little thing is heavy and awkward.
Mhm.
It's it's like I feel like it's common physics though. You carry around more weight,
Mhm.
your body is going through more stress, and that's the bottom line. It's going to wear you down quicker. You will feel better if you are carrying around extra weight and can get rid of it. Let's talk about some challenges that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Logan. Sorry.
No, I'm just gonna say, you don't notice the extra weight because you don't gain it all at once, like you
Right.
would if you pick up that plate. It's just a little bit over 10 years, and so you're like, well, don't feel that bad. You know what I'm saying? Sure, I'm like 50 pounds
Because you're
overweight, but
used
like
to it now.
I don't really feel that bad. Like
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's okay. It's not, and it's like you just slowly have adapted to it, and you're like, "Well, yeah, this is normal. What if it wasn't? That would be that person that is 50 to 70 pounds overweight that doesn't think that they feel that bad. I would highly encourage them to get a pack and put 40 pounds 50 pounds worth of something in it and go for a walk for 20 minutes. You'll realize the effects, like Paul was saying, of
Mhm.
having that extra weight on, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And
and
that would
that's
be a
that's
great way to
definitely one of the other things that
go ahead, Paul.
it keeps people from from sticking to these goals that they have, because that weight, like you said, it might have came on over 10 years, but they want to get it off in the next 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, it didn't take 6 months to put it on. It's probably not going to take 6 months to get it
Mm-hmm.
off. You know what I mean? And so I think a lot of people fall short because they're not foreseeing the challenges that are going to arise. Like challenges and obstacles are going to be inevitable along this journey. And just because you have something in mind that you want to achieve doesn't necessarily mean that timeline was realistic, or the method that you're going about it was the right one. If you do enough time to educate yourself or elicit the help of a coach, like they might be able to help paint a better picture as far as the path goes. But like you have to have something that's going to root you in this goal, so that when the obstacles and the challenges do come up, you're not just totally demotivated. I don't know if that's a real word, but like just lose everything. Like you just deflated, I guess. Like your spirit gets killed when things don't go exactly the way that you thought they were going to do. And so like I think
That's it.
some of the common ones with the fitness goals would be it doesn't come off as fast as you want it to, or plateaus, or just the time commitment to that it takes for meal prepping. Like maybe you expected that you would have time to meal prep every week, and then something comes up and it's like, oh crap, now I don't have that time I thought I was going to have. Like, now what do I do? And so like that ultimately goes back to the being flexible thing we talked about at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But having a proper plan, or a realistic plan, like what Logan was talking about, like you have to break your smaller goals down to be, or your larger goals into smaller goals. Like those need to be realistic as well. So like those need to, your smaller goals also have to follow the SMART principle. And like those things are going to be what's going to ultimately carry you through. And then just giving yourself a little bit of wiggle room,
Grace. Yeah.
self-care, self-compassion, grace.
Race.
Like it's not all going to happen exactly the way you drew it up. So like being able to love yourself through that and do it out of a place of love for yourself. That's another one that just came to mind is, you see a lot of fitness goals where it's like people are they hate their body. And so they want to change it, but it'll never work if you hate your body. Like you have to love yourself through that. Like you have to do these things out of love for your body that you were given, that's carrying you through life. Like you have to love that sucker. And then fitness becomes easy because you want to take care of it.
Yeah. And bottom line, I mean, life's messy, guys. Like life is not perfect. Your schedule every week is not perfect. And that's the one thing you need to come to grips with is this is not going to look the same every week, and that's okay. You're not going to be in the gym 2 hours a day, and you shouldn't be unless that's your job. If making it sustainable and being okay with missing a day, that is going to happen. That is life. What is important is picking it back up and starting again the next day or the 2 days after. We're just coming off of Christmas. I haven't worked out since I worked out Christmas Eve, and we're sitting here. I want to work out desperately today. I know I would feel really good if I did, but I have a ton of shit to do today. We're getting ready to go. I got to run up to my dumbass went to the hardware store. I'm redoing my garage. I bought one color of planks, got them all hung, was like, perfect. I like those. Went and bought 100, 200 square foot more of them. I bought the wrong color. So I have to go back and change those out today. Same thing, Logan. Like, yep, I did that. I fucked that up. That's my fault. I am so mad right now, but I got to go fix it. My bad. Stupid, but that's just life. It's messy, and you have to have some grace and just get back to it. Just go and do it. Don't feel bad for missing a day. Don't feel bad for, not hitting your macros for the day. Dude, go get your ass back to work. Quit being the victim. Quit feeling sorry for yourself and fucking take some action and get it done. That's the biggest thing. People throw pity parties for themselves when things don't go right one time. That's how life is, guys. Make it work. Whatever it is, it's going to look a little different than everyone else's, journey. But the thing that we all do is I take things from each one of these guys' journeys and each of these other people's in my life journeys that are, I look up to, that are my mentors, my friends, and I use little pieces of their success to help with mine, and I make it my own. Same thing as you guys. You guys do the same thing. Your guys' journey is not looking like mine. Anyone listening, your journey is not going to look identical to mine, but you can sure as hell take some of the little things that I see wins in every day, use them for yours. You can take the same from Logan and Paul and anyone else that you look up to or talk to in your life and make it your own. And you're going to see a ton of success that way because it's your journey. You're not using someone else's to model that, right? So have some grace with yourself. Be patient. Like Paul said, the 50 pounds didn't come on in a year. It came on in 10 years. It's going to take some time to get that off. Realize that. Be real with yourself. That ain't coming off in 2 months. And if it does, it ain't staying off. You have to have sustainable efforts, set sustainable goals, and be doing those things to change your lifestyle every day, or it's not going to work. That's why a bullshit New Year's resolution doesn't work. Make the lifestyle change. Make the lifestyle goal. Logan, go for it. You can see you chomping at the bit.
Yeah, I just have. I know that we're wrapping up, but like, man, you just fired me up right there. And I just had this conversation with a client yesterday. Life either happens to you or for you, right? Like, and that's what I would encourage you. Like we've said it a couple times. Doug said, "Don't be a victim," but you're in charge here.
Yeah.
And so when these things happen, what time are you getting up? What time are you getting out of bed? Right? Like, I mean, that's something that most times, not all the time, but most times you're in control of. I don't know any uber successful person that just sleeps until they wake up. I don't. Most of them, in fact, actually get up way earlier than even I do, and they've got a full day's worth of work in by lunchtime. That's one of the things that you can control. Don't let life just happen to you, and then you're reactive all day long. You're reactive. When I don't get up early, it's how I treat my kids. Right? I'm reactive. Something bad happens and I'm like grasping for. Take control, get up and be proactive. And that's going to dramatically change. If you will swap that mindset from reacting to what happens to you to being proactive and preparing and planning and getting a passport before you're supposed to leave for your trip, like you will see crazy changes over the course of 2024. But it's going to take you taking responsibility for what happens in your life as a choice of your actions and deciding no more. It's going to be different.
Responsibility. It's the hardest thing to take with yourself, but it's number one. We talk about like the most important conversation is to have with that person in the mirror. And it's also the hardest conversation to have. But you will take so much away from being real with yourself, and it's tough, but it just makes whenever I'm going through stuff and I feel bad for myself or feel like I am not the problem, and I do have those conversations with myself, and I may have not been the thing that caused another thing to happen, but the way I'm reacting to it is controls 100% how I feel about it. So when I start looking at things like that, I have to take the feelings out and how it makes me feel initially and look at it as what it is. Whether that is I missed the gym. Well, that happened because I had to take the kids here. I got held late at work. I had to go to the grocery store, blah, blah, blah. I could say that. Or I could say I slept in. I slept an hour later this morning and I didn't go. And that was on me. So tomorrow I'm going to make sure I don't do that. And it'll be a good day tomorrow, right? Instead of this compounding thing where it's so easy to say, oh, I got busy here today. Oh, I'm so busy here, the next day. And it just keeps going and going. And all of a sudden you haven't worked out for a month and you're out of the routine. Getting back to that every day and just being real with yourself is the biggest part of being able to accomplish any kind of goal, I think. But you guys have anything else to wrap this up?
Mm-hmm. Man, not really.
I think that man, if you can't get something out of that, if that doesn't light your fire, your wood's wet. As Roger Miller said.
Oh, I love it. Hopefully, listeners, hopefully you guys are taking away something from this. Set those New Year's resolutions / lifestyle change goals. Make 2024 your year. Set those little goals, set the mile markers, set a big goal that fires you up and maybe scares you a little bit. Have a little grace with yourself while you're going at it. If you guys have any questions along your journey and you're like, I need someone to help me out, give me some accountability, holler at us, hit us up. If you want to go beyond that and make an investment in yourself and in your lifestyle and you need someone to be there for you and set up a plan, dude, that's what we're here for. Champion Living Fitness, check it out. Website's championlivingfitness.com. Hit the Become an Athlete form. It's a free consultation, y'all. You pay zero money. You get to talk to a coach. We answer all your questions. We make sure you're pairing you up with the right coach for you. We have 9 coaches on staff, all with a ton of diversity in what they're really, really good at, but also we're all good at a lot of the same things as well. So we make sure that we have the right person for you. And man, in my eyes, there's no better way. I talk about this with rodeo athletes all the time. If you are someone who's going to be an elite rodeo athlete, in investment of $4,000 a year in a personal trainer or a coach, if you don't win $4,000 more after doing that, we have a huge problem. You shouldn't be with that coach in general, right? The thing will pay off itself tenfold, and we've seen this time and time again with guys making the investment in themselves. So I would say see it as an investment, whether you're an athlete or not. It's either investment in your health or your career or both. So check us out. Get a free consult. It's awesome. We got to thank our sponsors, guys. Beastmaster Rodeo. Boom. Thank them for the swag. They hooked us all up for Christmas. They're too nice. Beastmaster Rodeo has been with us since day one. Check them out at beastmasterrodeo.com. Use our discount code ChampionLiving. All one word is uppercase. Going to save you 10% on all their gear. And Hui. Rocking that Hui gear. Man, I love that new Sage hat. It's so clean. So clean. You guys can check that out. Yeah.
I was looking all over for it.
It was perfect. I had been looking for it too. No, it looks fresh. I like it. Y'all check out all their new swag. Christmas just happened. I know you guys are wanting to get some new clothes. Check them out at getyourhui.com. Use our discount code. Save you a little money. Get you some more clothes. Champion Living, all one word, not case sensitive. Going to save you 10% on all your Hui gear. Again, getyourhui.com. Check them out. Until next time, we'll catch you guys later.